Hello, this is Cara from Cara Tarot, unabashedly excited to share with you something that just arrived in the mail, the Francois de Poilly Tarot. This is a Minchiate deck, and I have to shout out to the Hermit of Visconti and to Happening by Chance, both of which recommended the cartomancy site where I was able to get this. I will put that contact information in the text underneath this video, but I will also warn you, when you go now and you look up their tarot decks, this doesn't come up anymore. You have to type in Poilly, P-O-I-L-L-Y, and then it will come up. So they still have it available, but for some reason it's not showing up on their main decks. This is a 101 card deck, if I counted that correctly. Some of you who care about numbers may count along as I show you the cards. So I just wanted to, they've been shown before at least by those two other people, but first I want to say, I mentioned before, a lot of times when you get a deck that's a little dark or a little gray, it shows up on video under the video lights really well. But then when you get it in person, it can be a little dim and a little less clear because there's, the cameras now kind of clarify things. So in both of the videos, both on Hermit of Visconti and Happening by Chance, their cards looked bright and lovely, but the pictures on the website looked kind of gray, or grayed down, not as clear. And I knew I was taking my chances with that because it's the color that I really like, and I have to say I'm delighted. If anything, they're even a little, they're still etching, so they're still grayish, but the colors in them are much more brighter and more nuanced than I thought they would be. So this is the cover card, this is the backs. It's playing card weight, which is fine. With a deck that has this many cards, you don't want a thick card stock, although, I don't mind, but but this is fine. Perhaps, yeah, so it has a really nice spring to it. And I'm going to start with the minors because, and I'm going to give you a little framework here. Il Libro di Thoth by Atea. And I call these static minors, which what I mean is, yes, there's a decoration around them, but the decoration is the same. They all appear on this shield. That's this deck, which is a deck that I love. I love the illustrations in this deck. But I refer to these as static pips because while they are in a lineup pattern, they don't have any flourishes or anything that give you any additional information to read. You can't read the background on these because it's the same on all the cards. They all appear on a shield in a geometric pattern. In coins, you can read the symbols a little bit, but that's still static pips because it's just the coin, no other decoration that gives you reading information. So, to my mind, it is my ability to read these static pips that led me to reading playing cards. So, and playing cards is what you get for the minors in this deck. So I will go through these backwards. The courts are the 4 continents: America, Africa, Europe, and Asia. So I guess I'll go through these. So they're just static pips. They are plain card pips. It couldn't get more plain than this, other than they really look as if they were hand-drawn by someone, which is adorable. So you get to the 10, and then you have the Valet of America. Notice this looks like a Native American. It is worth noting, these are from 1650. Now, if Jean-Philippe Rameau, who lived around the mid-1700s, although he lived a very long life for a composer, his most famous opera was Les Indes Galantes. Les Indes Galantes means the amorous Indians or the gallant Indians. And in that opera, each act took place in a different continent. One of them was America, where it was about the Native Americans. And they referred to all, I think it was America, Persia, the Orient. They are blanketly referring to all of them as Indians, meaning they're not European. So that's worth knowing as we look at this America. So we have the American Valet, who does look very much like a Native American. And now we have more Eurocentric Amérique Chaval. But look at these, it's kind of a light violet and then a plum. And then 2 shades of light blue and a darker shade of blue, and then these kind of greens. It's still quite subtle, but lovely. The American Queen or Dame, and the American King, who once again seems to have, this is kind of what they would have called an Indian headdress in the court of Louis XIV. So it's this weird kind of Europeanizing of the American king. Of course, we didn't have an American king. This conflation of their idea of what Native Americans were and, conflated with the European court. So it's interesting. And then we have so Europe, of course, Europe is love. The Ballet of Europe, the Knight of Europe, the Queen of Europe, and the European King. African page with a really unfortunate looking lion. The African knight using a bow and arrow, interesting. The Queen of Africa and the King of Africa. With a more fortunate looking lion. So the Asian page. The Asian knight. Really clear that he didn't know anything about the way that the Asian forces were dressing. Asian Dame and the Asian King. Now, worth mentioning, Asian to them at this time might possibly only mean Persia. And this would make a little more sense in that regard. And when I was saying Rameau wrote that was the mid-1700s that he wrote Les Indes Galantes, and European courts were still referring to these people, all of these different peoples, as Indians. So that's just, you need to know what the terminology was that they were using at that time period. And now we get to, I'm going to lower this a bit. And now we get to these delicious majors. Momos is the spirit of mockery and fun, but it has a nasty tweak to it. It is often criticizing people, and notably, the story is that when Momos criticized everyone except Venus, who was too perfect for him to criticize, so he criticized the squeak of her sandals. So this is a progenitor of our fool. Again, this is 1600s. One of the many. And now we get into some of the gods. Mercury, Cupid, Venus naissante, so the birth of Venus, and Cupid. Cupid gets double time here. And I decided, okay, what's the difference then? If we're going to give them two different cards, I thought, well, then I need to know what the difference is. Venus is more the generalized sense of love and love and sweetness and kindness. Cupid is more, I would call Cupid more lust. This is the impulse that makes people fall in love, and it is mischievous. So if you had to delineate these, I would say in a reading, I would think of this more as lust, and this is more as beneficent love, filial love. Bacchus. And now we get to our virtues. Prudence, charité, charity. Justice. And I'll ask one of my more historically knowledgeable friends, at what point did Justice start being, well, actually, her eyes are not covered here. She has the headband on, but it appears to be above her eyes. Interesting. I know there's the Shakespeare quote, which would be 1400s, of love sees with the eyes, not with the mind, therefore is winged Cupid painted blind, and for that reason Cupid is painted as being blind. This is justice, but that would have probably be somewhere in that area of them being depicted as being blind, Justice being blind. If only. Let's get back to Justice being blind, shall we? Pardon me for my political outburst. Hope. We can hope that Justice will start being blind again. La Force. We can force Justice to be... Okay, I'll let it rest. Force or strength. And the Wheel of Fortune, interestingly, capping off the virtues. That's something to think about. And so now we have the ages of man. Old age coming first, which you could probably also, even though he doesn't have a clock, you could read this as time as well. The age of virility. The age of adolescence. And enfance, the age of infancy. And then, I love this, we have the senses. So we have taste, touch, smell, sound, hearing, and vision. And here's a dog. Two dogs, actually, right at his behind, very much in the way the fool is later depicted. The elements that we have regularly in Minchiate decks: fire, earth, water, air. And now, interestingly, with the zodiac symbols, we do not have the zodiac symbol. We have a month. And it is the month that that sign begins in. As you know, any of us who know anything about this, the signs straddle the months. So we have December, Aries; November, Sagittarius; September, Libra; October, Scorpio; August, Virgo; July, Leo; June, is that Cancer? Yeah. Wacky looking crab. Oh, it's a lobster. Okay. Whatever. It's something out of the sea. May, Gemini; April, Taurus; Capricorn, is that? No, this would be Aries. The other one would have been Capricorn. I always get those images confused. And Pisces for February, and January, Aquarius. Okay, so sorry for... So let's go back and let me... Okay, so Aries and Capricorn. Alrighty. And you notice all of a sudden, with Aries, the backgrounds turn red, which I think is going to make this my Christmas deck, this red and green together. And now we have more of the traditional cards that we're used to. Star, moon, sun riding a chariot across the sky, the world, and interestingly called le renommé, the renaming, which certainly then makes this more the biblical judgment that you're rising from the dead and being given your forever name. And just lovely with the little houses, little town there at the bottom. So I wanted to share that with you, my excitement about this lovely historic deck. And you know what? I'm going to do an Arcana battle. Since we have 40, majors, I'm going to do an Arcana battle with them. I may be the first person to have done an Arcana battle with Minchiate majors online. is often one of the first things I do with a new deck. And this will be especially fun because they're almost double the amount of majors. So the Arcana battle is you just lay out 2 cards and you try to forget the meaning of the card. You try to forget anything other than just make a knee-jerk reaction. Which card do you like better? And leave that and take the other one away and put another one down really quickly. The point of the Arcana battle is to go through it really quickly and end up with either 1 card or 2. Okay, so here we go. Oh, that's hard. Okay. You're gonna get hard for me to pass up the lady smelling a rose. Except for music. I do like him. I'm a Virgo, I have to choose the Virgo card. Okay, well, I often leave it at 2, but this one I'll just leave with 1. This is Virgo. This is my sign. Makes total sense that this is where I stopped. This is a wonderful harbinger for my relationship with this deck. There we go. The beautiful historic deck, Francois de Poilly, Tarot. Merci mes chers. I hope you have a day just half as lovely as these beautiful old cards. Thank you.